Yeah. Sakari. 1715. Yeah. On them street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena, nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy. That's right. On them street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena, nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy. Christians, they just mad because the Gentiles going in slavery. Boy, you don't know no Bible, you know nothing about sociology. Look, just sit back, I'ma put you on eschatology. The way that I've been studying, yeah, I know the most, I'm proud of me. I don't eat no pork, cause I only eat what's lawfully. Can't fuck with like you niggas, cause you niggas moving softly. If you don't keep the law, then you get back the hell up off of me. Can prove we the Israelites through this archaeology. Israel, we on top, you can see it through biology. They do not understand, cause they know nothing about the prophecies. No, I do not want to hear about your theology. How can I listen to someone teaching the wrong Christology? On them street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena, nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy. That's right. On them street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena, nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy.
Give me Ezekiel chapter 33. Let's go into the word. I'ma give you what you see. When my brother bring it out, it can make a nigga bleed. On the other hand, it'll give you hope if you take heed. I'ma cut your head off if you not from Jacob's seed. How I'm standing on business, stand firm like a tree. Make it racks, run it up, baby, like it on my bling. Body bag of Edomite, where he stand is why I leave now. Give me Ezekiel chapter 37. Let me show you how to use the scriptures as a lethal weapon. Lay my life down for my brother. On the heathen I be stepping, cause we going through the curses, but we about to get the blessing. I'ma drop a 30 stick, nigga, you could call me stepping. Bullets going through the dope. Esau took it blessings with advantage of the Jew. Every way I be flexing, approach this cautiously. Niggas speak with some discretion, niggas.
On the street corner yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena, nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy. On the street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena, nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy.
Yeah, you know, nigga, we do this shit. 1715 Sakari set, nigga. If you ain't keeping the law, don't give me no debt, nigga. Shout out my nigga I, shout out my nigga Yai Quap, nigga. We really do this shit. No cap.
Yo, shalom. Mic check,
Shalom.
mic check. You hear me?
Con.
We'll start by giving all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, and we do so in the name of His begotten Son, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, who was indeed a black man. Hey, we back, man. We back. I know it's been a minute since we been on live, man. A lot going on. Storms, war angel traveling. A lot going on, man. So Salakia for the absence. Brothers have been doing a lot, doing the work of the Most High, man. Hey, before we get started, just want to let you guys know, man, what you saw just now. That is the thumbnail to BCV, man, which is you guys' favorite. Looks like on the album. We got the official music video dropping this Friday. Don't miss it. You can catch it here on this channel, Sakari Space City, and you can also catch it on the record label's channel at Space City Records LLC, man. This is the only music video that's going to be on Sakari Space City on the camp page. It's the only one. So all other music videos is going to be on the record label page. So make sure you go follow the record label page if you want to see the live music video, because we got a lot of content coming up. Right? But yeah, as always, I'm Officer Dawa Allah. Officer Nakawan, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yep, shalom, Nakawan.
We're gonna get into it, man. You see the title, Acts 10 proves salvation for all. Is that true? Because Acts 10 is a staple, main key chapter that a lot of members of Christianity go to when they want to prove salvation for all, and when they want to prove you can eat whatever you want. So we're gonna take a look into it, right? We're gonna take a look into it. Let me share my screen. And then Nakawan, if you can get me Acts 10 Baba Kashab. Right on it. We're gonna start right on it.
Khan. This is Acts chapter 10, verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
Right. Now, what we're gonna do, because like I said, like I mentioned when we first started, people like to go to Acts 10 to prove salvation for all. So first, before we even get into that, right, let's just get a few. Let's prove real quick, right, how salvation is not for all. Christ's death is not for all. Not going to give me John 11 and start at verse 49. We're just gonna get a couple precepts real quick. Just some quick cuts, some quick shots, man, that disproves that ideology. Whenever you got it, you can go ahead.
St. John 11, verse 49. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this, so it says, and this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahushua should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
That was scattered abroad, right? So this is a verse right here that clearly shows that Christ's death was only for the Jews and the children of God that were scattered abroad. Well, who's the children of God that's scattered abroad? All right, give me James. Well, you don't got to give me. You give me Hebrews 9 and 15. But this is James 1 and 1. It says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord, Yahushua Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. And we know emphatically that the children of God is the 12 tribes, emphatically. But even in the New Testament, is still calling these tribes the scattered. So you see right off the bat, hey, his death, which unlocks our salvation, is only towards one specific group of people. Before we even get into Acts 10, right? Because Christians or members of Christianity, I want to reclaim that word. Members of Christianity love to go to Acts 10, but they don't go to any of the scriptures. So let's go to Hebrews 9 and 15. Go ahead, Op.
This is Hebrews 9, verse 15. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance.
The promise of eternal inheritance are those who transgress under that first testament. That's only one specific group of people. One specific group of people. That's the Israelites. Get one last one before we go into Acts 10. Give me Isaiah 59 and 20. Baba Kashab.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 59 and verse 20. It says, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahweh.
Says Yahweh, man. Those that turn from transgression in Jacob, that's who the Redeemer is coming to, man. That's who the Messiah is for. It's not for anybody else. Salvation emphatically belongs to the children of Israel, those who repent. More specifically, the elect. That's who salvation is unlocked for. So let's go into Acts 10. Now that we got that out the way, let's look and analyze Acts 10 and see if salvation is for the Gentiles. But I
start from the top.
Yeah, go ahead. Start from the top.
Con.
We're not gonna get far. Just read the first verse.
This is Acts chapter 10, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
Right. Now, in the first verse, right, because a lot of people have this notion that Cornelius was a heathen. People think Cornelius was a heathen. Even when I put the brother Kabad, who's up in the chat, Shalom, brother, when he helped me put the thumbnail together, man, all the thumbnails that was coming up with Acts 10 had a white boy on it. Had a white boy on it. I said, man, I ain't about to put a white boy on the thumbnail. But the mass of our people, they think Cornelius is a heathen. Mm-hmm. So let's look at this, right? Let's disprove that. First of all, it says a certain man in Caesarea. Most people don't know where this is at. Right? So let's take a look at the map. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's take a look at the map real quick. Boom. Let's take a look at this one. Can you blow it up? Con. You can see this? You can see this?
Yeah, Con. I see it.
Let me zoom in. There we go. There we go. Right. So when you look at this map, right, and the map says Palestine in the time of Jesus, who we know is Yahweh Shah. Right. When you look at this map, and any of you guys that have a Bible, right, especially like a 1611, all you got to do is just turn to the back of your Bible. I don't know if y'all can see it, but there's maps here. Mm-hmm. There's maps. When you look at these maps, they tell you where these locations are. And look at where Caesarea is located at. It's in Israel. Mm-hmm. It's in the land of Israel, first of all. And then more specifically, oh, what didn't happen?
Yeah, that's like northern Israel.
Yep. More specifically, though, it's in Samaria.
Yeah.
It's in the province of Samaria. So people love to say that, you know, Cornelius is a heathen, but whenever I look at where he's from Israel. That's a red flag right there. That lets me know you lying. Members of Christianity, right? So that's just one. Let's go back to Acts 10.
They said that he's Italian because he's a part of the Italian band.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that too. Right? So yeah, just because he's Italian, right? But we're gonna get into it. But we see that this man is from Sicilia, which is Israel, right? And then next it says a centurion. People love to harp on this point. He's a centurion. So let's look and see what a centurion is for those of you who don't know. Let's see here. So a centurion is just an officer in the Roman army, right? That's it. He was an officer who commanded, I believe, 100 men, the captain of 100 men. That's who Cornelius was. That just because he was a officer in this army, though, does not make him a heathen. Why? Because you had Israelites that were in the Roman army. Right. Just like today, when you see Israelites, you know, fighting for America, Israelites, I'm gung ho, I'm going to the army. Guess what? The same thing was going on back then. Let's get some sources on that. All right, let's get some sources. So this is an article that I highly recommend you guys save. It's called Sons of Israel in Caesar's Service, Jewish Soldiers in the Roman Military. So we just go to the first paragraph. If you can read that for me, can you see it?
Yeah, Con, I see it.
Yeah, you can just read this first little paragraph here.
Con.
Some more for you. Go ahead.
It says the participation of Roman Jewish soldiers in the armies of Imperial Rome often goes unrecognized. This is mainly a result of a lack of recognition on the part of scholars who wish to use rabbinic sources as the benchmark for Jewish practice in the imperial age. It is also difficult to identify Jewish soldiers, many of whom had Greek and Latin names. Cornelius.
Keep on.
Unless they are specifically identified as Jews or are found in a Jewish context, such as the dedicatory inscriptions from a synagogue. Nonetheless, by using a variety of sources from the period, it is possible to appreciate the depth and breadth of Jewish service in the Roman legions from the time of Caesar down to the early 5th century.
So this would include the times before Christ, the times during Christ, and the time after Christ. There were Jews that were in the Roman army, such as Cornelius, and such Jews had Greek and Latin names. Keep on.
There were Jews who served as simple foot soldiers, influential generals like Tiberius Julius Alexander, and Jewish military units such as the Regi and Messini, Judea. Regardless of their relationship to Orthodox Jewish communities of the time, the service of Roman Jews in the imperial armed forces must be recognized.
It must be recognized, man. And shalom to the powerful officer Oz, man.
Shalom.
He was the brother y'all heard on that BCV, man, earlier.
God.
Right.
Shalom, family. Hey, I hope y'all rocking with that, man.
Con. But yeah, man, here it is. We see in history that you had Jews that were in the army, and there were all types of rankings, from foot soldiers all the way down to general. This is what we see when you look at Cornelius.
Yeah,
Cornelius was one of those Jews that was in the Roman army.
As Salakia, that's not far-fetched, because we know, all right, we see America, and we see how America is literally Roman, or Rome 2.0. It's not other nations in the American army. So what is so far-fetched about the Roman army having different nationalities within their army? That's what just makes sense, right?
Yep. And that's what they did. That's what made the Romans kind of different, because the Romans, they were different groups of people. So their armies was comprised of different groups of people. So sometimes when they went up to fight, man, you don't know what you was fighting, or what type of army was coming against you, or what their fighting style was. That's one of the reasons that made the Romans so powerful. You was gonna say something, Miles?
I was just pointing out how it's white supremacy, how like they believe that black people couldn't be in a Roman army, and that's kind of how like history is kind of whitewashed. They make it seem like black we couldn't be in anything other than Africa, swinging from trees, I guess.
Swinging from trees.
I don't understand why it's so far-fetched to believe that a black man was in the Italian band.
Which is so crazy, because other than the high-ranking officials of the American army, who's really the face of the American army? It's black people, bro. How many generals and lieutenants and sergeants are people in within the American army?
All my uncles except for my father went to the army. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
Matter of fact, I believe, the Secretary of Defense is Jake.
Look at that.
The Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin. He's Jake.
See?
Right? Or I guess because he's in the army that makes him a heathen. I don't know.
He's a heathen.
Yeah, man. So just in the first verse, we see that this man is from Sicilia, which is in Israel, specifically Samaria. And we see that he was an officer in the Romans army, which again, we see that there were Jews there. And now let's deal with this Italian band. All right. First, let's go to the Bible. Somebody give me Acts 18.
Yeah. Beautiful.
18 and 2. Let's see if there were Jews in Italy.
All right, this is the book of Acts, chapter 18, and verse 2, and it reads, it says, and found a certain Jew named Aquila,
born in Pontus, lately come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome and come unto them.
So here we are. We see Jews that left Italy. We see Jews that were in Italy, Jews that had provinces in Italy, and even up in Rome, because Rome was the capital of Italy at this time. Let's get another one. All right, give me Acts 2. Somebody give me Acts 2 and start from verse 5.
This is Acts chapter 2 and verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven.
Out of every nation. Now it's going to list nations, right? Keep going.
It says, now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. You want to skip down or keep on reading?
You can basically read to 10.
God. Verse 7, it says, and they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galileans?
Now, mind you, right? They're saying, aren't these Galileans? But in verse 5, it calls them Jews. So it's showing you that our people was being called by other nations. They were being called by other names. Keep going.
Verse 8, and how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born? And this also cuts that whole speaking in tongues, you know the Christian concept of speaking in tongues.
Oh, right. I know.
Yeah, man. I used to be Pentecostal, man.
Yeah, man.
My people all Pentecostal. I got a lesson coming on that too. We're gonna destroy that doctrine another time.
Verse 9, Parthians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea, Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia and Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews. And strangers of what? It says, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians. We do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of the Most High.
Right. So it says part of these Jews here that are from every nation. You had Jews that was from Rome.
Yeah.
Which is what? The capital of Italy.
Yeah.
So to say that oh, he's Italian, that makes him white. No, that's incorrect. Your people, if you have that notion, you are looking at it from 2024. You go over to Italy, majority of the people you're gonna see is Caucasians. But during this time, you had many different nationalities that were all going throughout Italy, especially Rome.
Yeah, like the brothers were saying earlier, you gotta think of it like America. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure if America is still here, you know what I'm saying, 200 years from now, they're gonna think that Americans are all white. Yep. But it's not. We live in America. You know what I'm saying? Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, we live in America. So just because you hear America doesn't mean it's white people. Same thing with this. Just because you hear Rome, it doesn't mean anything. You got to understand that the Roman Empire, they ruled over Egypt, or as all these places that is naming, these are the places they conquered and they ruled over. Everybody from there wasn't a white person.
Could I get a quick precept?
Con, what you got? Because the officer Yaqua, man, shalom to the officer Yaqua. Shalom. What's your precept, Pop?
Acts 2, verse 1. I mean, Shalakia. Luke 2, verse 1.
I'll read it for you. Okay. So this is Luke 2 and 1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed.
See that? So it says that Caesar Augustus, which was a Roman emperor, said that all the world should be taxed. Now, if you're from a nation taxing other nations, that means what? You have full dominion and rulership over those other nationalities, right? you're literally governing every single city, state, province, whatever, who you're taxing, because if you're paying taxes, you're a slave. You're a slave to that person, right? So if you're taxing that person, that means that you're above them, and they have a military, they have an army. Wouldn't it make sense that those other nationalities will be a part of that army?
Yep.
Like, just
Good
make
point.
perfect sense. Like, they were taxing the whole world. Well, not literally the whole world. Just talking about that current world. The three parts: Europe, Africa, and Asia.
Con. And then obviously Yaqua, man, he put John 12:20. It reads, and there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go into the context of this chapter, it's talking about the Passover, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have any heathens come to the Passover. Meaning what?
Right.
These Greeks here are Jews
Mm-hmm.
that are being called Greeks. The same is the case in Acts 10 when it comes to Cornelius. And we're going to keep on proving it. It's just, as you've seen in the first verse of Acts 10, you can already disprove it. Within the first verse, you ain't even got to keep reading. Right? Let's go back to Acts 10. You can skip the verse 2.
Con.
Well, actually, hold on. Actually, I have one last little dagger.
Bring it out.
I have one last little dagger. Because we went to the Bible, but let's look at history. All right, what does history say? All right, watch this. Where is that? Is it gonna pull up for me? Let's see. Yep. Look at that. So this right here is an excerpt from the works of Philo, who was an Israelite historian. Somebody read from this little like L paragraph mark on down until I'll stop you in.
Okay, Con. It says, how then did he look upon the great division of Rome, which is on the other side of the river Tiber, which he was well aware was occupied and inhabited by the Jews. And they were mostly Roman citizens.
Oh, that's bro. Where you get this from, bro?
Oh, keep reading. There's more.
This right here hurts.
And that's Philo, man. Keep reading now.
It says, having been emancipated, for having been brought as captives into Italy, they were manumitted by those who had brought them for slaves, without ever having been compelled to alter any of their hereditary or national observances.
So you can start right there, right? So that shows you that what? Israelites were led captive into Italy.
Right.
And you can read about all of that during the time of the Maccabees.
Right.
If you keep reading, it said they had synagogues there.
Oh, well, keep reading.
It says, therefore, he knew that they had synagogues, and that they were in the habit of visiting them, and most especially on the sacred Sabbath days, when they publicly cultivate their national philosophy.
Yep.
Oh, that's it.
That's it on that, man. But yeah. So here we see that you have Jews that were led captive into Italy. So to make a statement, oh well, he's from Italy, so he's white, that's false. Matter of fact, it makes sense that he's in Italy because his forefathers was brought there and subjugated and made captives and slaves. So yeah, that's go ahead.
That's just a dumb argument. You know what I mean? And that logic was really brought about through Antiochus Epiphanes when you read Maccabees. Because Antiochus, he was like, all right, wherever you're born, that's your nationality, which is, false. That's why there's a whole debate. If you just ask people, like if you ask a Mexican, we do this all the time on the streets. If you ask a Mexican, all right, where you from? They'd be like, oh yeah, Texas. It's like, bro, you are a so-called Mexican.
Yeah.
They tell us, oh yeah, I'm American. Brother, you are not American.
You're not American.
I can clearly look at you and tell that you are a so-called Hispanic. Right. But the whole world is under that vibration of wherever you're born, that's your nationality, which is completely false.
Hey, that's why Steve Nash, I like to always bring it up. Steve Nash is African.
Yeah, oh yeah, for real.
So what we doing, man?
Exactly.
Yep. Come on. Let's go back to Acts 10. Go ahead, somebody read verse 2.
Come on. This is Acts chapter 10 and verse 2. It says, a devout man and one that feared the Most High with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to the Most High always.
All right. And once again, we haven't even made it to the third verse, and there's still meat on the bone that you can take and see, oh, this is not a heathen. First, let's look at devout. All right, devout. G2152. What is devout? It means pious, dutiful. All right, pious, dutiful towards God, devout, godly. And then even if you look at poise, all right, let's see. Let's go here. Look at poise. See this definition. If someone is deeply religious and visibly follows all the moral and ethic codes of his religion, he is pious. This is what they're describing Cornelius as. Someone who is devout towards his religion, which is what? Oh, keeping the commandments of God. Yep. Right? And then when you keep reading, go back to it.
Ain't no damn Edomite that's godly.
Ain't no what Edomite you know that's godly. Right? And then it says one that feared God with all his house. And according to the Bible, we know that to fear God is what? You keeping his commandments. Yep. Psalms 111 and 10. Right? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding of all they that do his commandments. His praise endures forever, man. This is the fear of the Lord. So he can't be a heathen because he actually fears the Most High. He actually does his commandments. And you can't be a heathen and keep the commandments of God. Why? Because the commandments wasn't given to you. Right? This is Psalms 147 and verse 19. It says he showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord. That's how you know this man has to be an Israelite, because it's describing him as somebody that's devout, somebody that is devoted towards his religion. Y'all had something y'all was gonna say?
I was about to say, Yaquan brought in the chat that 2nd Ezra 3 and 36, and I got
that's spirit. Dang, I literally just went there.
I got it put up. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 36. Is this?
Hold on, let me get it on the screen.
And look, I'm not even looking at the screen too. So that's the spirit.
Yeah,
that's the spirit, man.
Hey, I think Yaquan said that he was trying to join on his phone, so send him.
Yeah, I sent him the link, Yaquan. I sent you the link on your phone. Oh no, need to check. If you can't join, then I'll drop out on one of my computers so you can get on, man, if you're trying to get up on here.
But this is 2nd Ezra chapter 3 and verse 36. It says, thou shalt find that Israel by name have kept thy precepts, but not the heathen.
Not the heathen, man. All right, so he's telling me all of a sudden, boom, Cornelius, the first heathen to keep the commandments of God. It's madness, man.
Hey, a car from Dallas talking about Trump.
But the only heathen though, like, so just only one little white boy was able to keep the commandments. Come on now, that don't make any sense.
Come on, yep. And then the members of Christianity's God and Messiah Paul, he tells you that what the oracles of God was committed towards the Jews. This is Romans 3 and 1. What advantage then has the Jew Or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God. That's who the law was for. So if Cornelius was a devout man, one that feared the Most High, one that did his commandments, there's only one group of people who can actually do that, right? And let's look at this oracles, just to prove that we're talking about the commandments of God. Look, it says, in a matter of fact, I ain't even gonna go to outline. We can go here. We're gonna go with what even Esau says. So if you look, let's see, where is it? X7. Yep, look at this. Romans 3:2 says, of his commands in the Mosaic law and his messianic promises. Romans 3:2.
If you jump up just a tad bit, it says in the New Testament spoken of the words or utterance of God. Right, like you see that bold part.
Mm-hmm.
It literally says of contents of the Mosaic law. So that's what the oracles are.
Come on, man. Right. So that's how we know, man. Cornelius can't be a heathen, because the Bible does not describe him as such. Anytime the Bible really gets to describing a heathen, it's not in this high regard. You got to show me a heathen that is being described as devout.
Yeah, exactly. And then too, guys making the point, guys make that stupid point of him being a heathen, right? Because him being Italian, so-called Italian, he wasn't Italian. It didn't say that, right? If you're a brother and you're an Israelite in the truth, teaching that salvation is for all, salvation is just for Israel, and you're saying Cornelius is a heathen, you're cutting your own self. You're cutting your own doctrine.
Might as well pack it up, bro.
You might as well pack it up.
Yep.
So that means that salvation is not for just Israel then.
Nope. Can't be. Hey, Shalom, Yaquab. Shalom.
Shalom, God. Can y'all hear me?
Come.
All praises. Yeah, you cutting yourself, man. It's silly. And not to mention, once again, that's why prophecy reigns supreme. Because, if you, like the brother was saying, if you believe that Cornelius is a heathen, then that's contradictory to the foundation of your faith.
Come. Exactly.
Yep. Con, right? So we dealt with devout man. We dealt with him that fears God. And because that's what a lot of people really need to do. A lot of people read the Bible too fast. Slow down. Slow down and actually look at what the scriptures are saying. A devout man, one that fears God. Then it said, which gave much alms to the people. And look at this, and prayed to God always. What prayers? Who are the prayers that the Most High hears?
Mm-hmm.
That's the saints. That's the saints. Let's get that. That's Revelations 5. Someone give me Revelations 5 and 8. Yeah, 8. Whoever got it.
This is Revelation chapter 5 and verse 8. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of saints.
The prayers of saints. That's who he hears. And we know who the saints are, right? The classic Psalms 50 and 5, right? Gather my saints together, those who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. But I'm gonna go to my new favorite, right? My new favorite is Deuteronomy 33 and 1. Somebody get that for me.
Deuteronomy 33 and 1. It says, and this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of the Most High, blessed the children of Israel before his death.
And
he said, the Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. That's
A
good.
fiery law for them, going back to why Cornelius is that devout man.
Exactly. And if I could, it's my first time on, but I got that book I posted in the chat called Imperial Rome. I'm not sure if I'm able to share my screen or not, but can I turn my camera on here?
Is it on your device or you got it physically?
I have it in front of my face right now.
Okay, we might not be able to see it too well.
Let me see.
Let me see.
Well, yeah.
Just read it out. Just read it out.
Okay, so I just want to show it, right? So this is the title of the book. It's called Empirical Rome, right? It's hard for me to get it right, Salakia. This is the page I'm reading. Can you see it?
Hold on.
Yeah, I see the picture.
Okay, now it says, Hail Emperor, those who are about to die salute you. With the solemn address, the gladiators scheduled to fight filed past the imperial box. Most of them were prisoners of war, slaves, or criminals sent through stern training schools. The night before, they had been feted at a lavish banquet where fans came to eye favorites and gamblers to estimate odds. Now, in the stands, peddlers hawked cold drinks, buns, and sausages. The more unusual contest, the better the Romans liked it. Gladiators often fought with mismatched weapons. Negroes, a rare sight in Rome, were matched with each other. So the Romans would use our people to fight not only in the military but in the Roman Colosseum. And the only reason it says Negroes are a rare sight in Rome is because that's like putting a Negro to sleep when you read that, right? Those are the things they used to cover their tracks. Because watch this. In the very same book, it says that it says the fertile farmlands of North Africa and Egypt were a breadbasket of the empire. So Rome historically would use the African continent the same way America does, ironically, to harvest their natural resources and their men. Right now, look, another page. I'm gonna show you the picture. I don't know if you could see it. This is the picture right here, right? So like, it's hard for me to get it on there. But for the
There we
viewers,
go.
for people who watching, just screenshot it and magnify it, right? It
Hey,
says,
show it again. I just you big on the screen now.
here we go, right here, right? So you could screenshot it and magnify it.
Yes,
Now
sir.
look what it says. It says barbarians in Gaul are shown bound with chains in a stone frieze, once part of a triumphal arch. Captives often serve in Rome's provincial militia. So they would enslave, and what people who Rome called barbarians, it wasn't it was a general term. So if you weren't a Roman, they considered you a barbarian regardless of where you were from.
It's
So they
basically like saying you're uncultured because you're not a Roman.
Exactly. So they would enslave people who don't have Roman citizenship, i.e., Israelites, Africans, etc., and then they will make you serve in a militia or they will send you into the Roman Colosseum. So anybody who just says, "Oh, it says he's in the Italian band," that automatically think white. A, you've been brainwashed by white supremacy, and B, you simply don't know history.
Come.
Right.
Come on. Hey, bring that out. Bring that out, right? Come on. Let's get back to Acts 10. I think the point was made here, man. Hey, he's a devout man. Only Israel can actually truly serve the Most High, fear the Most High, do His commandments, because only Israel was given His commandments, and Israelites are the prayers that the Most High hears. All right, so let's get back to Acts 10. We can go to verse 3, and we just read down from here.
Acts 10 and verse 2 again, verse 3.
You can go from verse 3, go down.
It says, he saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of the Most High coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid and said, what is it, Lord? And he said unto him, thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before the Most High. And now send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. he lodgeth with one Simon.
Hey, it's like right? Because he just mentioned Joppa, right? So remember, Cornelius is here, Cecilia. Joppa is just down here, right? And the men he's sending are going to see Peter. And here's Jerusalem. So all of this is in the same exact land. Same land. Again, how can he be a heathen?
Right.
Go ahead.
It says, he lodgeth, verse 6 again, he lodgeth with one Simon a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called two of his household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. And when he had declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour.
Now, this part of Acts 10 is the part that members of Christianity love to go to say, I can eat whatever I want to eat. I can eat pork. I can eat shrimp. I can eat crab and lobster because Jesus said, don't call anything uncommon or unclean.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle pulled that out on me when I first came into the truth, man. When I first came into the truth. And I'm going to show you how I cut him just being a babe in the truth. Keep reading out.
Verse 10, and he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw heaven opened and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat.
Now I'll stop right there, right? So here he has this vision. He's seeing these beasts, these wild beasts, things that we cannot eat according to the law. So for members of Christianity to say that this dream, before we even go further, for them to say that this dream means that you can eat whatever you want, you are now making the Most High God a minister of sin.
Exactly.
Which is completely against the Bible. Right. Somebody get me Sirach 15.
Oh, dude.
Right. And if the Most High is all knowing and omnipotent, what was the point of him instilling a dietary law in us just for him to later on say, okay, never mind, you can eat whatever you want?
God.
The scripture tells you that God doesn't change and God doesn't make mistakes. The scripture tells you that the law is perfect in converting the soul. Psalms 19:7. So if the law is perfect, then why would you change something that's perfect? What's a common saying that people know? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
What's the point of changing something that's perfect? That's like you being a basketball coach and your star player drop 50 every night, and then you tell him, hey, man, you know what? Instead of shooting the ball, just pass it to the center every play. It makes no sense.
This is Sirach 15:20. It says, he had commanded no man to do wickedly, neither had he given any man license to sin.
Come on, man. I guess members of Christianity are going to tell me he commanded no man to do wickedly. He commanded no man to sin until you get to Acts 10 with Cornelius and Peter. Peter, the rock of the church. They're telling me that the Lord wanted Peter to go off to commit a sin by eating unclean foods. And we see that in Leviticus 11, the foods that you cannot eat. Peter would know these things. That's why in verse 14, Peter tells him, no, Lord, I have not eaten anything that is uncommon or unclean.
You know that Romans 8, I believe that's Romans 8, where it says that the carnal mind cannot. I might be misquoting. I forgot what it says, but it just
it's Romans 8. We can get it.
Yeah, it's just saying that the carnal mind it basically isn't going to be for God. Like y'all don't have most Christians don't have a a spiritual lens, because when you read Acts 10, it's giving you a spiritual aspect. It's giving you a tarp that's being laid out, and it's got 4 corners at the end, and there's beasts on it. It's talking about the children of Israel, obviously. It's talking about them, obviously. It's very spiritual. Yeah, that right. Read that real quick out.
John, I'll start from verse 6. This is Romans chapter 8 and verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be.
And that's why they rush to go to Acts 10 to basically say they can sin, because their mind is not on the same line as God. And it never can be, because they're carnal. That's why they can't see the spiritual aspect of why Peter is getting his dream.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep. This is it in the NLT. This Romans 8 and 6 NLT. So letting your sinful nature control your mind leads to death, but letting the spirit control your mind leads to life and peace. For the sinful nature is always hostile to God. It never did obey God's laws, and it never will. That's why those who are still under the control of their sinful nature can never please God. And those that are and those that are under control of their sinful nature are those who don't obey God's laws.
Hey, that NLT it, boy.
Kind.
So what are we doing?
And it says, and never did obey God. Never. Right?
Come.
That's the Christian for you.
And that's
bring that out, man.
Hey, right? Carr said, "Hey, but y'all bringing out so right." He said that's not canon.
And you know what's crazy? A Christian actually gets worse when they join Christianity, because if you in the world and you have no relationship with God, then you just a mindless sinner. A Christian will then profess or proclaim to have a relationship with God and still do what they do, making crucifying Christ afresh.
Yep. Con. You can continue reading that, but that's why when Christians read, or members of Christianity, because I want to take that word back.
We got to take that back, because we Christians, we are true Christians. You know what I'm saying?
I want to take that word back, but members of Christianity, man, that's why they can't understand Acts 10, because they're carnal. Why are they carnal? They don't follow the laws of God. And they use Acts 10 to justify them not following the laws of God. Go ahead, Ak.
Con says Acts 10 and verse 14, it says, but Peter said, not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, what God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven.
Now remember, it was done 3 times. The vision was done 3 times to Peter. Keep reading.
Verse 17. Now while Peter doubted in himself what this vision which he had seen should mean, bro, that's the cut right there. This is, like, it's crazy. That's insane. It says, behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate, and called and asked whether Simon, which was surnamed Peter, were lodged there.
Yep.
While Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, behold, 3 men seek thee.
You see
all
that?
Right.
See that? 3 men. And he explains his vision later on, but I'll just go ahead and jump the gun. The vision of the unclean beast was symbolic of him accepting Cornelius, because Cornelius did not grow up in Jewry. Cornelius wasn't like the Jews that grew up knowing the law and grew up following the customs and everything. Hey, to them, he was another Gentile. So whenever you see these 3 men, the 3 times the visions came was symbolic of him about to meet these 3 different men. You was gonna say something, Mark?
Yeah, which our culture was literally to, if you didn't practice certain practices, if you weren't circumcised, if you weren't showing up for the feast days, etc., we would literally discommunicate you from being an Israelite, literally.
Yep.
So that was the thing that was being broken down to him. That even though, yes, of ancient times we would discommunicate with them. Now through Christ, of course, now these people who grew up in paganistic lifestyles are being offered a chance of repentance and salvation.
And you know what's so crazy about that, Yaiquab? Our people practice that to this day, right?
We
right,
do.
Judah, right. Judah let you damn move out the hood, marry a white girl. You have a white picket fence. That nigga a white boy now. He on that white boy. He on that white boy stuff. He on that white boy stuff.
Nigga, you don't eat pork? What?
Yep.
Hey, boy, you get shunned for that. Boy, I got shunned for that, boy.
Hey, you ain't invited to the cookout no more.
No.
Yep.
What is that?
Cookout no more.
You getting treated like a heathen,
right?
Like an outsider.
And you see that in Acts 6:1. Look, I got you right here. Did you have that, Dawala?
Nah, but we can get it.
Okay. I have it right here. But if you want to put it up on the screen, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it for everybody so everybody can read along. Go ahead.
Okay, it says, and in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians. If you look up that word Grecian, it means a Greek-speaking Jew, right? If I'm not mistaken.
You can read in the NIV. The NIV it would say like Greek Jews or something. Or
in the NIV, kind.
Yep. Look at this. In the NLT of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek.
Exactly. So these Greek-speaking Jews were murmuring. They had a problem with something. What was the problem? It says a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, the Jews that were born and raised in Jewry, because their widows, the women, were neglecting in the daily menstruation. That menstruation, I believe, was the serving of food I want to say the temple, but get that word menstruation, Salakia.
So brothers was mad because their wives ain't eat.
Well, what they were doing was they were serving Hebrews, but they weren't serving Greek-speaking Jews. They was discriminating against them. Servicing, ministering, those who execute the commands of others. It should say something about food, I would say. There you go at the bottom. Look, the service of those who prepared and present food. So the women, the sisters, was feeding the Hebrews raised in Jewry and neglecting our brothers and sisters that wasn't raised in Jewry because they were discriminating against them. And this is in the very same book. So that's the whole problem that's being explained and broken down upon. You can't call somebody unclean. You can't discriminate against your brother because he was born under a heathenistic lifestyle. A nigga, that's just like a brother being born and his mama don't circumcise him. He can't control whether his mama circumcised him or not. He didn't say, yeah, mama, don't circumcise me as a little infant. You can't help that. And really, a lot of you niggas is the devil, man. Because a lot of you niggas are you pop it like you talk this big Hebrew Israelite game. And I've been, certain brothers Nakawam could speak. We've been in the game for a long time. A lot of niggas talk that big Hebrew Israelite talk, and when in the second a nigga step on your shoe, you treat them like a heathen. And that's the problem with you niggas, man. The scripture says, how can you love God whom you can't see, and you can't love your brother whom you see every day?
Mm-hmm.
And our people had that same mentality 2,000 years ago, and you still got it today. Go ahead, Salakia.
I'm about to say that's why niggas is stuck in America. That's why we in captivity.
Boy, I tell you, boy, the officer Yaqua, boy, you jumping the gun, man.
But he in the spirit, right? You see the spirit.
You're in the spirit, but you jumping the gun. We just gonna go ahead and tackle it, right? Because, like you said, our people looked at those who didn't grow up in Jewry as not their people. They didn't have any dealings with that, right? Somebody give me John 4:5, right? We're gonna take a look at the Samaritan woman, which coincidentally is in Samaria. What else is in Samaria? Oh, Caesarea, where Cornelius is, where he is from.
This is what you want in verse 5?
Yeah, start from 5 and go down to 12.
This is John 4 and verse 5. It says, "Then cometh he to a city of Samaria, which is called, is it Sychar? Am I saying it right?
Yes, Sychar.
Sychar, near to the
Parcel.
parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph."
Right.
It says, "Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being weary, went with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour.
Mm-hmm.
There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water, and Yahushua said unto her, Give me to drink." Hey, Yaquab, you mute. We can hear ourselves through the phone. The water out. Verse 8, it says, "For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, asketh drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans."
And that goes all the way back to Acts 10. It goes all the way back to Acts 10. This is why Peter has to have that dream, because the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. They have no dealings with their brothers that did not grow up in Jewry, though they're estranged brothers that was taken off to different lands. Because when you look, he said he was from the Italian band. Rome and Italy as a whole, they're far from Jerusalem. You have to take a boat. Either have to take a boat or you have to go all the way around. So those of our people that was led away captives, we didn't have any dealings with them. But let's prove that she is our people. Keep reading, not
Right. And so and Salakia, mind you, emphasis on the fact that this is a sister who's considered somewhat of a Gentile having a conversation with Christ, right? So if we supposed to be Christ-like, let's see if Christ said, "Oh no, you a damn heathen, get the hell out of here," or if Christ dealt with her and dropped the gem on her.
This is verse 10. It says, "And Yahushua answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldst have asked of him, and he would have given thee living waters. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to drink to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle?" And Yahushua answered and said unto her, "Whosoever..."
You start right there. That's the point, though. The point is, she said, "Are you greater than our father Jacob?"
God.
That proves that she's not a heathen. That proves that you have our people that lives in these different provinces, that live in these different areas, and those of our people we had no dealings with. That was the issue. That's why Peter had to have that dream. That's why the Lord told Peter, don't call what I call clean uncommon. That's the whole point. All right, let's get another one real quick.
It's Shalagia too, and when you keep on when we keep on reading in that chapter, Yahushua actually stayed amongst them for like a few days. Now, if like she was a heathen, why the hell would Yahushua be staying with? Why the hell would he be staying amongst heathens for a few days, or maybe like a week? The Messiah doing that. Come on.
For sure, in Matthew 15, he barely stayed. The other one.
Exactly.
Yep, here it is. Verse 40.
I got you. Verse 39.
Yep, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Read.
"And many of the Samaritans of that city believed on him for the saying of the woman, which testified, He told me all that ever I did. So when the Samaritans were come unto him, they besought him that he would tarry with them, and he abode there 2 days. And many more believed because of his own word."
See that? That's a cut. And then all of them believed. That whole entire city believed. Now, I know what it says in Matthew 11. If Tyrene Zidon would have heard this, right? But bro, the whole entire city believed on believed on Yahweh Shah because of his word. That just further shows you that those were Israelites. Although they may have not been keeping the law, it tells you in Romans 2 and Romans the second chapter, those Gentiles that basically had the law in their heart keep the law default. You know what I mean?
Yep, I got it right here.
Paraphrasing.
So this Romans 2:25, for circumcision very profit if you keep the law, but if you be a breaker of the law, your circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
See that? Shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? So they may not have been keeping all the laws to a T. And listen, they could have been, because remember in Kings, we had that priest that came up into Samaria to teach some of those Samaritans how to keep the law.
Yep.
So there were still remnants of them being there, but let's just say that wasn't the case. Even them not being circumcised but keeping other laws, that still counts.
Somebody give me John 7:35. Right, just hammering in on this point, man. Our people, we saw it as pretty much taboo. If you had dealings with the Gentiles, you had dealings with our people that was led away captive, that weren't in Jewry. That's why when Yahweh Shah started his ministry, people was wondering, hold on, bro, you about to go teach them? Like, what you about to go do, right? Somebody give me that.
This is John 7:35. It says, then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we should not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles?
See, and that was a question. If it was something that was socially okay, it wouldn't have mattered. They wouldn't have cared. Right? Let's get back to Acts 10. I think we did good on that. Yeah, you got to
backtrack real quick on Yaikov's point of Acts 6:1. I got Malachi 3:5 real quick. It ties in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Beautifully. Yeah, Malachi. Okay.
So this is Malachi chapter 3:5. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, said the Lord of hosts.
Yeah, and that's the point. It says, and that turn aside the stranger from his right. That's what our people was doing in Acts 6:1, right? By not letting the Hellenized Israelites, right, get their food. And those women too were probably widows.
Yep.
So they were literally, and which is against the laws of the Most High. The Most High doesn't like when you oppress when you oppress widows, right? And they were turning aside the stranger from his right, because those Israelites, more than likely, they were all tatted up, probably had mohawks. And look, who knows? Some were probably lesbians, as it says in 1 Corinthians 6. As some of you were.
They were all into Roman culture. They probably were used to, exercising naked.
Yep.
And things like that. Extremely. They were just like Americans. Remember, we don't call Americans. They were. When Pompeii, there's an island called Pompeii, and it was buried by volcanic ash and magma. When they excavated the land, it was a Roman province. One thing that they found was extremely pornographic material throughout the whole entire land. So they were hypersexualized. More than likely, they were materialistic. They dealt with sports, right? They were essentially Americans.
They was Americans.
That's what they were.
I mean, before I came to the truth, I was like that. Like, if people don't know me, I was a big football guy. That's what I used to watch. Man, now I barely watch a damn game, bro. It just don't matter to me no more. You know what I'm saying? But as they were, so were we.
Yep. Con. All right, let's get back to Acts 10. I think it was on verse 17.
Kai.
No,
Matter of
we was
fact,
on
it
19.
was like, yeah.
Yeah. Go
Acts
ahead.
10, Acts 10 and verse 19. It says, while Peter thought on the vision, the Spirit said unto him, behold, 3 men seek thee. Arise, therefore, and get thee down, and go with them, doubting nothing, for I have sent them.
Mm-hmm.
Then Peter went down to the men which were sent unto him from Cornelius, and said, behold, I am he whom ye seek. What is the cause wherefore ye are come? And they said, Cornelius, the centurion, a just man, and one that feared the Most High, and of good report among all the nation of the Jews, was warned from the Most High by an holy angel to send for thee into his house and to hear the words of thee.
Mm-hmm.
Then called he them in and lodged them. And on the morrow, Peter went away with them, and certain brethren from Joppa accompanied him. Verse 24. And the morrow, after they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, and had called together his kinsmen and near friends. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him, and fell down at his feet, and worshiped him. But Peter took him up, saying, stand up, I myself also am a man. And as he talked with him, he went in, and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, ye know how it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company, or come unto one of another nation. But the Heavenly Father hath showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
And that right there is how I cut my uncle. I told him, I said, hey, Peter's dream isn't talking about food, it's talking about men.
Right.
And all he could say was, well, I mean, you could think that. I said, no, ain't no thinking. He tells you. Peter tells you what his dream was about. His dream was the Most High showing him not to call any man common or unclean. That's what it's all about. Because ultimately, it goes back to the 2 greatest commandments. Right? Somebody give me Matthew 22 and 36. Right? It goes right back to this. And this is what our people back then had to understand when it came to those that didn't grow up in Jewry, those that were they're led captive abroad, because the gospel still had to come to them. Whoever got it, y'all can read it. 36 and 37.
This is Matthew chapter 22, verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law?
Mm-hmm.
Said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these commandments hang all the law and prophets.
Right. So what we're seeing Peter do in Acts 10, he's showing love to his brother. How? Because he is correcting and he's showing his brother the gospel of Christ, man. He's expounding on that. Him and his whole house, right? And how do we know that's part of the law? Hey, Leviticus 19 and 17. Right? Leviticus 19 and 17, you shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall anywise rebuke your neighbor and not suffer sin upon them. That's what Peter was doing. I know our people trying to get hung up on that word rebuke. Right, let's look at it. Look what it says, right? To prove, decide, judge, rebuke, correct, right? Show to be right. Reason together. That is what Peter is doing in Acts 10. He is reasoning together with somebody that did not grow up in his nation. But he is still the nation of Israel, right?
And a Christian will pull that to try and prove they don't have to keep the commandments. But when Christ said, in in verse 40, on these two commandments hang all the law and prophets. He's essentially saying that if you do these two things, then you're going to be keeping the law. Because to love your brother and to love God is to keep the commandments. You can't break the law and simultaneously love God and your brother. It doesn't work that way. And Romans 15:9 is the precept for that.
Yeah. And I got 1 John 5:3 classic pulled up. But this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, man. So
Exactly.
if you
Matter of fact, let me
keep
get
his
it.
commandments, and you correct your brother and reason with your brother on keeping the commandments, you essentially are keeping them all.
Right.
What you got, Yaquab?
This is Romans 13 and verse 9. It says, "For this thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself."
Con.
So every single commandment is revolved around loving your neighbor, and if you love your neighbor, then you're gonna keep the commandments point blank period.
Con. And that's what we see in Acts 10, right?
Hey, read it in the. Do you got the BBE?
Yep.
BBE, read it in the BBE.
Which one? Acts 10 or Romans 13?
Romans 13 and 10.
Okay, con. Let's see what the BBE say. It's Romans 13 and 9. And this, do not be untrue in married life. Do not put to death. Do not take what is others. Do not have desire for what is another's. And if there is any other order, it is covered by this word: have love for your neighbor as for yourself.
And in verse 10, it says, love does no wrong to his neighbor, so love makes the law complete.
Now, watch what it says in the KJV. It says, love worketh no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law.
Con. All praises. Con. Beautiful point. But wait a minute, Yaquab. Wait a minute, Oz and Nakawan. It says of another nation. Y'all cut, man.
I found it, bro. I don't know what to do.
Y'all cut, man. It don't matter what we just said, man. Verse 28 says of another nation. Let's look into this, man. It's very simple. It's very easy, right? Of another nation. Because remember, we already went through the precepts. We already went through the history on how you had Jews that was led away captives into neighboring provinces of Jerusalem, such as Italy. Just because they was led away captives does not mean they're not Israelites. They may be now a Greek, a Roman, whatever other nation, but they're still an Israelite. But how we looked at them colloquially was, oh no, that's another Greek. He is not our people. That's why it says of another nation. And when you go into the Greek, it tells you that. Look at this. This is G246, alophilos. All right, and alophilos is a compound word made of two words, G246 and G5453, right? Let's look at the first one. Alaf, which means another, simply put, right? Another or different, right? But let's look at this word, G5443, which is Philo. What does Philo mean? Boom. In the New Testament, all persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch of Jacob. What we do with that?
It's called a dagger. Hey, but you know what? I don't deal with the Greek.
Hey, you niggas is bugged out, man. You want to go into the Greek and the Hebrew, right? You niggas is bugged out, man.
You're doing that for when it's in English. It's right here, man.
And you know what that's called? That's called a cop out. That's called a cop out. Yeah. Oh, Esau is smart.
And it's definitely not scholastic, because on a serious note, when you deal with philosophy, when you deal with medicine and mathematics and law, guess what they all deal with? The Greek. They don't nothing. When you go to college and you study at a collegiate level, majority of the information you learn, the original sources are gonna be in Greek. It's not English, because English is a new language, right? So anyone who has an English backbone, that's a terrible hill to die on, and I pray for you.
Yep. So that's the final dagger on Cornelius being a heathen, man. It can't be. According to the scholars, right? Because people love to say, well, you Hebrew Israelites, y'all not scholars. Okay, according to the scholars, Cornelius was one of the persons descending from the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob.
Hey man, according to a Christian, you just a panel of blacks, man. Right? People being dirty. Y'all know where that's from. Y'all too young.
Man. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it on Acts 10. After that, it just goes into them talking, and then he brings his family, but the crux of Acts 10 goes from verse 1 to verse 28. But if you just want the quick fire, it's not talking about that. Verse 28 shoots down his dream, that his dream is about actual food. If anybody goes to Acts 10 and say Acts 10 means I can eat whatever I can, and not to call anything uncommon or unclean, you look them dead in the eye and you say, ma'am or sir, you don't read the Bible. You didn't even read this chapter. So
so crazy about what Peter said too, that Jews don't keep company of them that are unclean or whatever. Like you can even find that in the law. That was a tradition. That's a custom that the ruling class Jews had to come up with, because how that work if we're going to have servants and handmaids?
I'm glad you said that.
I will even go to say that was something that we picked up from Egyptians. The first time you see that is when Egyptians saying it was an abomination to deal with us, or to hang or chill or eat with us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the brother saying, you can't find that in the law, man.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that, man. Y'all bringing up some great points, man. Because if you go and you read Genesis, with Joseph, when his brothers came into Egypt and they sat down to have a meal with him, the Bible tells you that they sat separate from the Egyptians, because the Egyptians they didn't deal with the Hebrews.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
they didn't deal with the Hebrews, man.
Yeah.
So you see the same thing, because like the officer said, man, these were things that the Pharisees came up with. The Pharisees made it taboo. I was about to have dealings with Jews not in Jewry. What's up, Hot?
I was about to say, even in there is no custom of Jews not being able to sit down with heathens, like actual blood-born heathens. It's not like, because they used to talk with what's that boy, Agrippa.
Yep.
They used to kick with Agrippa. Then also in Genesis, God told Adam and Eve they could eat from certain trees. They just couldn't eat from this one tree, which is other nations. So it's not in the laws that you can't sit down and eat with this more. Like you just sit down, you know what I'm saying? It's not in the Torah at all.
Somebody give me Mark 7 and 6. This is what we're gonna end off on. And read to 8. Because this is what's going on. Why it's quote unquote unlawful. It wasn't unlawful according to the laws of God. It was unlawful according to the laws of the society and the social norms of the time. And who set up those social norms? It was the Pharisees. And Christ rebuked that in Mark chapter 7, verse 6. Read.
This is Mark 7 and verse 6. He answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied unto you hypocrites. Or is that that's Isaiah, right? Because
Isaiah
16:11. So mine say like Isaiah. It says, he answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
And that's a lot of Christians today. The same things that was, and it's really spiritual. It's like the things that was going on back then is going on now, but in reverse. So instead of us distancing ourselves from our people that's of another nation practicing heathen lifestyles and customs, now our people distance themselves from people who practice righteousness. And it's spiritual because they honor the Lord with their lips, but their heart, their minds ain't even in it. Keep reading.
Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandments of God, ye hold the traditions of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do. And ye
Many
say
such
unto
things
them,
you do. That's it on that. That's it on that. But because the point is, our people was following these traditions. They was following these commandments of men, the commandments of the Pharisees. And what was one such commandment? Hey, we have no dealings with those of Samaria.
Let me get the next verse out.
Go ahead.
And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandments of God, that ye may keep your own tradition.
Con. And that is why you see the Lord telling Peter, don't call what uncommon or unclean that which I called clean. Why? Because they're the exact same people.
Con.
They're the exact same,
bro. Hey, when you read, I think it's in either John or Luke. Pontius Pilate said that we have a custom on a day of a Passover that we release a prisoner. Where the hell is that at in the Torah? Where is that? That is a custom.
It's a custom that we used to do.
That is not in the Torah, bro.
You know it was super off because we chose Barabbas over the Messiah.
Right.
So imagine how many more criminals we released due to favoritism and political warfare.
We was literally talking about free my nigga James, nigga.
Hey, look, if you had your homie locked up for whatever the hell he did, it's free him and let the other brother die. Who gives a what they did?
It's all right, bro. We're gonna get you out of your Passover, nigga.
Wicked, man. If you study history, that's why there was always a distinction between government and the church, because when the two mix, there's always corruption. It never fails.
God. I was about to say, it was a big reason why Peter had the dream too. Because remember, that's why Paul and Peter got into it. Because Peter he would eat with the Gentiles, the brother that was Gentiles, and then when the Jews that was born in Jewry come, he'd get up and act like he didn't know who they were. Peter was acting fake, bro.
God.
Hey, good point.
And it wasn't nothing but a nigga who did something like that, man. A Negro, a brother, right? Those are brother activities, right? That's how a nigga get down in the hood, man. You know, you kick it with your weird homies. Then when the cool homies come around, you don't know the weird homies. You know?
I ain't with these niggas.
Matter of fact, I know the last thing I want to get what you said.
We the Israelites, bro, and this is proven.
It's bro. Now that I came to, when I read the book, I'll be sitting there and like, bro, that's definitely us, bro. It's not hard for me to see it, bro.
Facts.
Yeah. So this
bring
is
that up, bro.
Yeah, just to get the account you're talking about. I know people might not know. This is Galatians 2:14. It says, but when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Peter before them all, if you, being a Jew, live after the manner of Gentiles, and not as do the Jews, why compellest you the Gentiles to live as do the Jews? So yeah, just going back to what the brother said, which is, and this is actually a cut, because what he's really doing is Judaizing. Matter of fact, I wonder. Right. Let me see. Live as the Jews. Watch this. Actually, no, it's in another translation.
What you looking for out?
No, it's in another translation. Is it the ESV? Yep. Look at this. Look at this. Galatians 2:14 in ESV. But when I saw that their conduct was not in step with the truth of the gospel, I said to Caiaphas before them all, if you, though a Jew, live like a Gentile and not like a Jew, how can you force the Gentiles to live like Jews?
He really on their ass right now.
And how does one live like a Jew? You keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of God.
Yeah.
And here you see Peter forcing them, meaning what? He's Judaizing. But you know, Christian will say that we can't do that. We can't go and tell our people to keep the laws of God. We can't force them to live like a Jew, and yet the rock of the church is doing it in Galatians 2:14.
That's a great cut.
Hey, Pastor Mike Holloway said that Peter was wrong. He said, "Yeah,
Peter is wrong.
I'm gonna just say it. Peter's wrong."
Man.
I said,
Now the head of the church is wrong.
The only person that was right was Paul. That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, man. Y'all brothers got anything y'all want to say on the matter, man? I think we explained it thoroughly through the spirit, man.
Yeah, man. The Hebrew Israelites are 200 million and oh. Let the record show that no Christian has ever came up against the real men of God and walked away without a war wound across his face and chest. And you know, hey, our work speaks for itself. Not just one camp or two camps, but our work as a collective. You know, if you choose to be in that cult of Christianity, then you know, may God help you and have mercy on you in the day of judgment.
God.
That's right. And if you want smoke, come to us because we won't call the cops.
We won't
call the cops on you.
All the smoke. We be looking for it.
Hey, you seen the fireworks in my background when you said that?
God. I would just say, man, once again, be on the lookout. We got the official music video to BCV. The official music video to book, chapter, verse, man, featuring Officer Oz Gadar, man, the powerful brother Malak Shayazah. Hey, that video is dropping on Friday. It will be the only music video, because we got a lot planned. It will be the only music video that will premiere on this channel, Sakari Space City. Music videos, you have to go subscribe to Space City Records LLC. That's where all the music and all of the videos are going to be on moving forward. We just know the nation is in love with that BCV. Y'all in love with BCV like it's fried chicken or something, man. So we gonna
Here go Jake. Oh man, y'all want me to subscribe to another channel? You asking me to like the videos? Yes, nigga, like the videos.
Yes.
Subscribe to the channel, my nigga. Goddamn, is it that hard, bro?
Yes.
Can you? But that's how you know we the Israelites. A brother will sit down for 2 hours to teach you. You will sit there and eat up all that food, and then when a nigga asks you to pay 2 pennies, you dash before you can even look at the bill, man.
You say, "Hey man, can you help me with some water?" Water.
Hey,
God, you water.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Jake will subscribe to an OnlyFans account.
Yep.
Don't subscribe to this. Come on now.
Yep. And condone whoredom month after month. But you ask for a like and a subscription.
Right. And we was you, man. When we say Jake, we used to be Jake that we talk about. That's why we could talk about you like that. But the point is, we chose to be constructive and productive within our community. So why don't you do the same thing, man? Right? Think about that. Let that sit on your headpiece.
Con. Hey, man, like I said, man, hey, y'all stream Beyond Space City, man. Stream it. Listen to all the music. And again, subscribe to the channel. You know, pretty soon, all the music is only going to be on Space City Records LLC YouTube. So, hey, man, tap in with us. And again, we got more coming. So just be on the lookout, bro.
So, hey, man, with that, If you want to stick around, I'm gonna play BCV once again for you brothers. But with that, I want to say Call Halal Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shah and Shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah. Sakari. 1715. Yeah. On them street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy. That's right. On them street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy. Christians, they just mad because the Gentiles going in slavery. Boy, you don't know no Bible, you know nothing about soteriology. Look, just sit back, I'ma put you on eschatology. The way that I've been studying, yeah, I know the most, I'm proud of me. I don't eat no pork, cause I only eat what's lawfully. Can't fuck with like you niggas, cause you niggas moving softly. If you don't keep the law, then you get back the hell up off of me. Can prove we the Israelites through this archaeology. Israel, we on top, you can see it through biology. They do not understand, cause they know nothing about the prophecies. No, I do not want to hear about your theology. How can I listen to someone teach no wrong Christology? On them street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy. That's right. On them street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy.
Give me Ezekiel chapter 33. Let's go into the word. I'ma give you what you see. When my brother bring it out, it can make a nigga bleed. On the other hand, it'll give you hope if you take heed. I'ma cut your head off if you not from Jacob's seed. How I'm standing on business, staying firm like a tree. Make it racks, run it up, baby, like it on my bling. Body bag of Edomite. Where he stand is why I leave now. Give me Ezekiel chapter 37. Let me show you how to use the scriptures as a lethal weapon. Lay my life down for my brother. On the heathen, I be stepping. Cause we going through the curses, but we about to get the blessing. I'ma drop a 30 stick. Nigga, you could call me stepping. Bullets going through the dope. Esau took it blessings with advantage of the Jew. Every way I be flexing, approach this cautiously. Niggas speak with some discretion. Niggas
on the street corner yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy. On the street corners yelling out, where the BCV? Ain't no John Cena nigga, cause you can come see me. If you ain't an Israelite, then you ain't kin to me. And if you don't come from Jacob, nigga, use an enemy.
Yeah, you know, nigga, we do this shit. 1715 Sakari this set, nigga. If you ain't keeping the law, don't give me no depth, nigga. Shout out my nigga I, shout out my nigga Yaikwap, nigga. We really do this shit. No cap.